Leaders do not require the crude force of armies or the visible threat of guns to establish absolute control. The most sophisticated and enduring form of domination is achieved through the colonization of your mind. Historically, the most powerful figures were not those who forced obedience, but those who expertly engineered and designed it. The chilling, inescapable reality is that entire populations move and act according to scripts written by their rulers. And the terrifying part is that the majority will never recognize the manipulation until the final, inescapable consequences arrive. Today, we are dissecting three fundamental psychological tactics that world leaders deploy to manipulate mass behavior, ensuring their power remains untouched, unblamed, and unnoticed. We will also conclude with a bonus tactic that explains the insidious spread of politically convenient falsehoods. This is not the realm of fringe conspiracy theory. This is the documented, verifiable application of real-world psychology. Prepare to learn how your mind is being utilized as the ultimate weapon of the state. Number 1. Divide and rule. The fragmentation of control. The foundational principle of controlling a large body is simple. Splinter it. The most efficient pathway to power consolidation is not unifying a people, but systematically fracturing them. Leaders do not merely observe existing social fissures, be they based on wealth disparities, political ideologies, geographical locations, or cultural differences. They actively and methodically amplify them. They are not interested in solving the divide. Their survival is predicated on making it worse. The genius of divide and rule is its ability to redirect the populace's focus. As long as the masses are intensely preoccupied fighting each other, they remain fundamentally incapable of questioning, scrutinizing, or challenging the centralized authority at the apex of the pyramid. Psychologically, this tactic exploits the powerful and innate in-group/out-group bias hardwired into the human brain. Your psychology is naturally inclined to grant immediate trust, empathy, and validity to those you perceive as part of your collective us. Conversely, you are biologically programmed to view the them, the opposition, the other side, the foreign element, with immediate suspicion, doubt, and often outright hostility. The leader's primary work is to continuously feed this fight, constantly framing every societal problem, every decision, and every point of contention as an us versus them conflict. While citizens exhaust their emotional, intellectual, and physical resources in protracted, often manufactured internal conflicts, be it left versus right, urban versus rural, or the young versus the old, the ruling class remains perfectly positioned to execute their long-term agenda. They move legislation quietly, concentrate wealth, and shift systemic power structures untouched, unblamed, and unnoticed. The objective is not societal improvement or resolution. The objective is the perpetual feeding of the fight itself. A population that is internally focused and perpetually hostile is a population that poses zero threat to its masters. They weaponize your tribal instincts into a self-policing mechanism that guarantees their structural longevity. Number 2, chaos theater, the strategy of cognitive fatigue. Control does not always manifest as silence, censorship, and stillness. Often, the most effective modern control mechanism looks exactly like noise, saturation, and panic, a strategy we call chaos theater. This involves the relentless, non-stop generation of artificial crises, a new political scandal every week, a sudden foreign threat, an emergency declaration, a constant stream of high-stakes political drama. It is the creation of a system where the public is bombarded by a new, urgent input before they have even finished processing the last one. The genius here lies in recognizing the biological limitations of the human mind. Your brain is a powerful but finite processor. It is simply not designed to analyze, fact-check, and emotionally absorb an endless deluge of existential emergencies. This overwhelming data flow induces a state known as cognitive fatigue, a form of psychological exhaustion where the mental resources required for critical thinking are completely depleted. Once a population reaches this state of burnout, their priorities dramatically shift. They stop demanding truth. They stop checking facts and sources. They cease the exhausting work of intellectual scrutiny. Their sole, overwhelming psychological demand becomes stability, certainty, and an end to the noise. In this environment of public distraction and cognitive collapse, while the majority is emotionally drowning in the manufactured chaos, the real work of power consolidation proceeds in the background. Critical laws are quietly passed, systems are subtly shifted, and power is ruthlessly concentrated by the few. The simple, brutal truth is that you cannot effectively fight what you cannot clearly focus on. The noise is not an accident. It is a precision instrument designed to paralyze your capacity for organized resistance. Number 3, enemy illusion, the rallying cry of fear. When a leader's credibility begins to erode, when their policies fail, and when internal support wanes, the master manipulator does not resort to genuine self-improvement. Their countermeasure is far simpler and infinitely more effective. The deliberate construction of fear. Suddenly, an immediate, existential new enemy appears on the horizon. This enemy might be a foreign state, a specific ideological movement, a shadowy group of internal dissenters, or even a single vilified person. The reality or credibility of this threat is entirely secondary. Its utility is paramount. The creation of the enemy illusion is a powerful attempt to unite a fractured population under a single primal emotion: survival. This tactic directly engages terror management theory. This psychological framework proves that when individuals are confronted with an existential threat or mortality salience, their immediate, instinctive reaction is to rally around the nearest protector and cling more fiercely to their established worldview and in-group identity. The most terrifying aspect of this manipulation is that the population will naturally consolidate around the figure who is framing themselves as the sole source of protection. This is how a genuinely bad leader, a demonstrably failed or corrupt figure, can transform into an immediate national hero virtually overnight. They achieve this transformation not because they have solved any actual problems, but because their manufactured fear has activated the population's psychological need for a strong, centralized ally. Fear blinds the people, turning their pre-existing political enemies into sudden, compliant allies. The leader created the fear, but they are rewarded as the savior, securing obedience through manufactured terror. Bonus tactic: perception framing and narrative control. If the inconvenient truth does not align with the leader's desired narrative, they do not need to simply lie. They can achieve the same outcome by subtly twisting your perception. This is the tactic of perception framing. It operates not by changing facts, but by controlling what you see, how you see it, and when you see it. Framing manipulation dictates the lens through which you interpret reality. Leaders can achieve this by selectively releasing statistics without critical context. They can broadcast video footage of a protest from a carefully chosen single inflammatory angle. They will systematically highlight threats that conveniently augment their own power and justify their aggressive policies, while simultaneously ignoring or minimizing any threats or facts that do not serve their self-interest. The most dangerous kind of political work is the crafting of the frame. The entire architecture of your opinion is shaped and solidified before you have any opportunity to fully understand the objective reality of the situation. Once this frame is established and reinforced, it becomes an almost insurmountable psychological obstacle, rendering the recognition of the full, unfiltered picture nearly impossible. The most profound and dangerous form of control is never physical. It is entirely mental. If a leader can successfully engineer and shape the way people think, they eradicate the need for coercion. The populace will silence their own dissent, police the thoughts and actions of their peers, and willingly, actively, protect the very power structure that is designed to weaken them. These maneuvers are not relics of history. They are actively deployed in our contemporary political sphere. Your only defense is a commitment to learning these patterns, thereby securing the integrity of your mind